Face facts, what up?
Real fans, realtalk.com. Where Arthurdamus, Trip Young, and intern Tom. For the white and black fans, Asia to Manhattan. I get all my facts from my bro, Mark the Stats Man. If you're not tuned in, I recommend the CAT scan. And if your brain checks out, then you deserve a backhand. Sports, gossip, all the hot topics. Real fans, realtalk.com got it. They got the hottest bloggers.
Is Jeremy Lin hurt?
Well, log onto the site and you can hear it from them first. I'm talking about the latest. I'm talking about the greatest. Go check out the archives. Even tell a neighbor. Tell them Bobby sent ya. From spring to winter, tuning in should be the only thing on your agenda. Certified cosign, you know what I'm about, son. Real fans, realtalk.com. I'm out. One.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. I'm Mark the Statman Skevich, and we got a great episode lined up for you tonight. We got a special guest, Matt Farrago, joining us later on in the program. But for now, I have the usual suspects. I have with me the one and only Trip Young.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Real Fans, Real Talk. And of course, sitting across from me, I got the most diabolical hater this side of the Mississippi, Arthurdamus.
What's up, Hate Nation? How you doing? This is your boy Arthurdamus, the most diabolical hater on this side of the Mississippi.
Can't even contain the smile, can you?
And I can't even hold my smile in because you remember I lost shot for shot week 1 and week 2 they had me do the most atrocious thing I could ever think of, and that's me putting on an Eli Manning jersey. But you remember I said I was gonna get the Statman back, and I'm a man of my word. So today I brought him a LeBron James shirt. And what's even funnier,
a baby James
size
shirt.
LeBron James shirt. So I'm gonna tape it on him to show the amount of embarrassment that he did to me. So Statman, this is what happens when you lose shot for shot. You know, you just gotta. You stand for a second, man. You just have to stand up and hold the shirt up so I can just show the world that, you know, I ain't playing when I said I was gonna get the revenge on you.
You know
so
what?
Here we go. Statman, this is how we do.
I love
how we doing Real Fans, Real Talk.
I love this so much because you have so much hate in your blood for LeBron. You actually can go head to head with Arthurdamus with your hate for LeBron. So I'm really loving this moment, and the fact that you didn't even get a man-size LeBron T-shirt just makes this that much better. Statman, how do you feel knowing that you have a champion across your stomach?
At least I don't have LeBron James touching my skin or anything. So.
No, you got the James. The James is actually on your stomach.
I got my Yankee armor on underneath, so I don't have to touch any of that nonsense. But
so revenge is sweet, you know. So
yeah,
it's okay.
it's a good look though for you, Statman.
I couldn't fit in that Red Sox hat that you wore last week, and I wish I would have worn it as a little thing as opposed to this. Like this,
you could have had a little beret or something.
I tell you, how's that?
Come on, man. It's taped too tight. It's cut off my circulation. I gotta take it off.
You gotta wear it with pride because you had me wear that Eli Manning shirt.
Exactly.
Eli Manning jersey with pride, so you gotta wear it with pride. You know, that's what happened here on Real Fans, Real Talk. We don't play around. Like, you gotta make sure you come through in the clutch with your shot for shot questions. So
I was a little happy that the other camera has my laptop covering.
Yeah. So. Make sure we get a lot of shots of that shirt in this episode.
Definitely a sad day for the Statman. I should have showed up for work today.
I didn't do a good enough job to cover this up because I don't like seeing that. This guy stay up like
hey, leave that Yankee logo. We don't need to touch that one. We don't need that.
No, we got you got it. I'll cover it up. I don't want to see it.
Oh man.
There we go.
But it is good seeing you with that Miami Heat 6 on you for the best player on the planet, LeBron James, Finals MVP, season MVP, and a member of the World Championship Miami Heat organization. It's a good look. It's a good look for the show. I think
this is the closest the New York Knicks will ever come to having a championship.
Hey,
right? This is the closest the New York Knicks will ever come to having a championship in their presence. Okay,
Statman, I think our ratings are gonna jump up because you got that Miami Heat jersey on.
No, I think all my fans have just lost all respect for me. I had all of
It's okay,
I had all you guys are Heat Nation. I'm LeBron James Hate Nation.
And we're actually international. We got a lot of Polish fans that watch the show, and they love the Statman. So they're gonna be a little shocked by this one. But
why he put on a little shirt? I don't. They don't know what I'm saying. They don't speak English.
Listen,
but
I told you I was gonna get you back, man. It gets no sweeter than that. Don't worry, you'll get your chance. That's if I ever lose shot for shot again.
But we got a big show ahead of us though. So we definitely got to jump into today's show, and like Statman said, we got a very special guest coming on to the show today, Matt Farrago, former middleweight boxer, and he also is the founder of a nonprofit organization known as Ring 10, where they basically help out retired boxers who have either gone, they're going bankrupt or they're not financially stable once their careers have been finished. So we're going to get into that a little bit later into the show, but we do have to cover a lot of sports news before we get into that.
Yeah, it's the NCAA finally laid the smackdown on.
The smackdown is not even the word. They did Armageddon on them. That's
well, listen, WWE had their 1000th episode of Raw, but they got the smackdown in Penn State. So
they came in with the rapture.
Yeah, that's the perfect definition of what went down.
Rightfully so, in my opinion. But Trip Young, you want to get into the details on the punishment that they laid out on them?
Yeah, they $60 million fine. They received. They have to vacate every win, as well as all of the stats and records from 1998 to 2011, which also means that Joe Paterno is no longer the winningest coach in college football. He's actually dropped down to number 5 on the list, and Bobby Bowden from Florida is actually currently the number 1 in college football wins. So, that kind of sucks for them. They also have a 4-year postseason ban, which means they will not be in any bowl games for the next 4 years. They also have 4-year scholarship reduction. Their players are able to leave the school now and transfer to other schools and be able to play immediately for other schools. We don't know exactly. As of this point, they haven't had any players leave.
There's a lot of schools
I know USC has called about one of their running backs already, so it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. And they're also under probation. The athletic department is under probation, so they're gonna be being watched extremely close by the NCAA and
60 million.
Yeah, so which is actually a lot of that money is going to go towards charities. So which kind of works out, which I'm actually glad about. But listen, you do the crime, you gotta do the time, and it sucks for the players who had no involvement in what was going on. I can't even imagine that they really had knowledge because of what the school did to kind of sweep this underneath the rug. So it sucks for those guys who are gonna lose all of the wins and all of the hard work that they put into playing football for Penn State University. But it's a team. You go down with your team, and the team starts with the leaders of that team, and that was Joe Paterno, Sandusky, and also the president of the school, who was also implicated in that free report. So now the anvil is down, and you're gonna have a hard time rebuilding that program. So.
They're emptying the crops, all the crickets and all the
exactly. I hope you guys learned your lesson.
Is over.
Yeah.
So now it's time for redemption.
Yep. Time to weather that storm. They also removed Joe Paterno's statue, so that's no longer there. They have kept his name on the library. To this point, if once we get word if they're gonna take it off or if they're gonna keep it, we'll let you guys know.
Well, I said initially, like last week when we reported that they decided that they were keeping the statue, I knew it wasn't going to last so long. So they definitely
they had no choice. They have to basically whitewash this whole era in Penn State football and start from scratch now. Hopefully they can keep some players on the roster and still have a decent football club, but it's going to take them a while before they're back to where they were. So
well, my views on what happened already. Like I'm for it, but we also know that this was NCAA way of saying we have an opportunity to just lay the smackdown on this school with no repercussions, no remorse. So everything is just gonna go. Like everybody's gonna agree with what the NCAA
because of this the seriousness of Sandusky's his crime. Nobody is gonna really say, well, this was a little too harsh, because this is something that's been going on since 97, 98, and actually there were a couple of reports that it was going on. Earlier, from dating back to the 70s, the 80s, 70s.
We don't even know the extent of how long.
So nobody is gonna really come out and say, well, this is unfair because of what's going on, especially the fact that it's dealing with children. So it sucks. I'm just glad that this thing is all finalized now and we can start to move on. But we're gonna switch over to basketball now because we are in the midst of the Olympics. And last week we spoke about the Dream Team versus Team USA, and we've been kind of going back and forth with it here at our Real Fans Real Talk. So what we did, the Statman, Arthurdamus, and myself, we gave our own ranking we combined the Dream Team and the Team USA 2012, and we got our top 10 out of those players. So, Arthurdamus, you want to start us off with number 10?
Number 10, we got Chris Paul, one of the great point guards of this time right now, which arguably, in my opinion, I don't think John Stockton would have been able to hold Chris Paul on one-on-one. So, top 10. Chris Paul, I agree with it. Statman, what do you think about number 9?
Well, I had Chris Paul as number 10 as well, but I just want to say before we go any further with the list, the way this works is we took into account their respective age. So it's not like, who is the best of all time or anything like that. Their respective age of 92 versus the current players' respective age.
Where they were in their careers.
I just want to clarify that because there's some obvious great players that didn't make the list, and we just want to clarify that as far as who made the list and whatnot. So, and as far as the John Stockton comment, I didn't have him in the top 10 either, but he
I don't think any of us had him in the top 10.
Yeah, he did lead the league in steals, so he was a really great defensive player and whatnot. But CP3, I had CP3 at number 10 as well.
Let me bring this up again, okay? We had this argument on Facebook already. Please don't bring.
You didn't have it with me. I don't know who you had it with.
John Stockton would have got script.
I did not have Stockton in my top 10. I had CP3 at 10. This list pretty much almost represents mine specifically. But anyway, number 9, we have Scottie Pippen.
Scottie
one
Pippen,
of the greatest small forwards of all time. He when Michael Jordan retired in the '94 season, even though the Knicks beat him in the Eastern Conference Finals, he led the league. He led his team in all 5 major statistical categories, which only 3 players have done in history. So that's blocks, steals, rebounds, points, and assists, leading the entire team in all statistical categories.
Who else did that?
I don't have that on hand. I just remember
I think
he didn't do that. He didn't do that throughout the whole season. He didn't. LeBron James didn't do that throughout the whole season. No, he hasn't.
Really?
No, he hasn't.
We're gonna have to bring those stats up onto the screen. But we're gonna jump into number 8. I know this is a personal favorite of Statman, New York's own.
I actually respected on that team, and that's coming from
Patrick Ewing. Who, first of all, let me just say this: Patrick Ewing had the ugliest sneakers I've ever seen in my life. He needed to take those things back to the factory. I don't know who would wear those things, but those are the ugliest sneakers. And I'm sorry, Patrick, but. None of my friends wore them. I didn't know anybody that had the Patrick Ewings on. I saw them, and it was an atrocious sight.
That's the gifts you give.
He's my favorite player of all time, but I wasn't rocking them.
Yeah, it doesn't take away from his game on the court. He's one of the greats. But the sneakers were horrible. I think those and the Masterpiece sneakers are the 2 worst sneakers of all time. I had to throw that out there. I'm sorry, guys. But at number 7. We got
one of the Twin Towers, David Robinson.
Yes, sir. San Antonio.
He was that defensive man. always in the paint, swapping shots.
I put Ewing ahead of Robinson because I personally believe that Ewing had an outside game, and when you have a center that has an outside game as well, it clears the lane for the rest of your players. So if I had to pick between Ewing or Robinson on my team, I would pick Ewing, and the only reason why Robinson has the ring is because of Tim Duncan. But you guys both put Robinson ahead of Ewing. I had Robinson on the top 10, but I had Ewing a little higher up there. The ring always comes into discussion. I did put this player.
Well, he didn't have a ring when they played in the Olympics. He didn't have his ring yet.
No, he
Robinson.
didn't.
That came later in the year. But he also was leading the league in blocks that year, and his numbers were slightly better. Rebounding, the points was about the same. But that's why I put him over Patrick Ewing was because of that.
Outside game, don't forget, this guy starts shooting out from the three.
But that was actually a time when we had centers plural in the league, whereas now you got Dwight Howard and maybe Andrew Bynum, depending on if he wants to be a diva that day of the week or what.
Or if he wants to try to take 3-pointers.
Yeah, if he wants to shoot threes with 22 seconds left on the shot clock.
That's what he says.
He's working on it. So yeah.
Once the way this points system ranked, the way each of us made our picks from 1 to 10, and it was a reverse point system. So whoever you put as number 1 is worth 10 points. Whoever you put as number 2 is worth 9 points. Then we combined the totals and got this final top 10 to get into more detail. And the reason why this guy is ranked number 6 is because I believe I had him ranked pretty high. Clyde the Glide Drexler, at the time, leading his team to the NBA Finals, even though he lost to Michael Jordan and the Bulls that year. He didn't have a Scottie Pippen on his side. He had guys like Terry Porter, Cliff Robinson, Buck Williams. He didn't have a Stockton like Malone had and whatnot. He led his team. He was debatably the MVP of the season that year. So it's something, I have
barring someone that's
probably
later
one
on the
of the
list.
most underrated players on that dream team.
He was actually, I actually had him pretty high on my list too.
For Defensive Player of the Year behind Jordan.
Yeah,
he knew how to play defense, and he was a beast back then. He was the only one that was running the Portland.
Yeah.
At number 5, we got
the Max Mamba.
I hate to say his name because his name. Every time I say this name, it's like it leaves a sour in my mouth. Like it's Kobe Bryant for number 5.
I got issues with the Black Mamba.
I'd rather let somebody else talk about this guy because my hate is just coming up.
It's
rising up.
But it's Kobe. It's Kobe. He went over to Germany this year, got that shot, that injection, came back shooting like it was 2005, 2006 again.
He hasn't done this without
we
Shaq.
We got him at number 5 on the list. At number 4, we got one of the greatest power forwards of all time, my main man Charles Barkley. He's also has turned into one of the better sports analysts on television too. He keeps it real. I mean,
combining him with Shaq, outside of Real Fans Real Talk.
Outside of Real Fans Real Talk.
Shaq and Barkley definitely have a good chemistry together. Them with their weigh-in and the shirt off or whatever, and all the little antics that they got going on.
Exactly.
Chuck is definitely funny.
They're not making up words like bopping and rolling and shooting the duping and dopping the duping.
They don't do that. They don't do
that. Commentators over there.
Yeah, Walt Clyde Frazier loves to rhyme in his commentary.
Exactly.
But, moving on to number 3, we have Kevin Durant, runner-up of MVP this year and by far the second best player in the league right now.
3-time scoring champ.
3-time scoring champ, yeah. I mean, some of the announcers were saying like Kevin Durant isn't in his prime. I mean, he won the scoring championship 3 years in a row. I think that's maybe. He's
I don't think he's reached his prime yet.
As far as like when they compared like how other people did the rankings as far, Kevin Durant wasn't in their top 5 and whatnot, but he's definitely. Extremely talented. He can only get better, but he's definitely better than Kobe is now, which is why we.
Statman, can we get you to say the number 2, please?
No, that's why the order didn't work that way.
We want you to say number 2. But we won't give it as much justice as you will.
You guys say number 2.
Can we hold on? Can we close this down for a second? Because I want everybody to see the number 2 on the list.
Number 2.
He wears number 6 and he plays for the Miami. What's his name? What's his name, Statman? Could you tell it?
LeBron James?
We caught him. We caught him. See, there's the hate coming out.
I did say Eli Manning incorrectly. What's his name?
It's the first time I'm calling him LeBron James since
come on.
At number 2,
just because I have
we
to
got
wear
King
this shirt.
James, the best player on the planet right now. Finals MVP, season MVP, and world champion with the Miami Heat, LeBron James.
I had him ranked as number 2. I think we all had him ranked as number 2.
Also known as Video Game James.
It's just
Also known as.
I had him ranked as number 2. There's no denying that. You know, I mean, you could ask Trip Young.
No, he definitely did. He just.
I never said he wasn't the best player in the game. I just didn't like him as a person.
If he had not ranked him as number 2, he knew we would have went in. So he had no choice but to be fair and put him at number 2. But shout out to LeBron James, and of course. Number one, the
if
GOAT.
you really have to ask, then you haven't been following basketball.
Yeah, you should just sit down, turn your TV off, after the show, and then go in the corner somewhere, read a book or something.
Time, Michael Jordan himself.
Exactly. MJ.
No explanation necessary.
Yeah.
Definitely better than that picture that you just saw of LeBron James.
There we go. See, and that picture right there
will never be as good. But
poetry in motion, the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan. Like, it doesn't get any better, man. Mr. Space Jam. That now there's somebody who has some good looking sneakers. All right, not to be confused with those Patrick Ewing sneakers. Actually, a couple of guys on this list had some nice sneakers.
Yeah, I don't know what
back in the day. Barkley had some good sneakers. I liked his.
I don't know what they were doing, Patrick. This
but
signed a contract and he just like, I got a sneaker deal, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's what it was. So.
It's fine. Don't worry about it, Pat. You're still one of the greatest centers to play in this game.
That's the real fans, real talk. Dream team ranking.
That's not the dream team. That's the super dream team.
We
don't want to take away
dream team.
Yeah.
This whole drama with the dream team started with when Kobe Bryant decided to go out and say that this year could beat that '92 dream team. So that's why it's been so widely discussed, not only on our sports program but most sports programs. Just because of the bold statement that he makes. And most people who've been watching basketball for a long time have known that, that '92 Dream Team was the best team ever put together. So we do give respect to some of the people as far as, some made, I believe it's 4 and 6 or something, or as far as 4 made it from this year and then the rest were from that '92 team. So we do have some respect for it, but it's definitely the 92
Well,
team.
got to give credit where credit is due. And I mean, LeBron was up high on the list. Durant, 2 and 3 were from, the 2012 team. So, there are players that could have ran with those guys. But, I know myself, I know Statman, we just feel like the 92 Dream Team would have beat this team. And that's not, any knock against them.
Hey, I don't want to get into the discussion, but it's arguable, But there is matchups on both sides that can have mismatches. So, but I wish somebody could invent a time machine. We all go back in time.
I mean, it's an age-old discussion as far as with every sport. Is Babe Ruth better than Barry Bonds? Or Hank Aaron, or whatever the case may be. So every sport kind of wants that.
That's why there's video games.
Compare.
Exactly. That's really the best you're gonna get.
You put it on the video game and you press the simulation mode and see what happens. I guess.
They did do the simulation mode for on sports.
I saw something.
It's 58%. The Dream Team wins 58% of the time.
There you go. But we got some other New York news, and we got a special little trailer we're gonna show you guys. And then before we get to our guests, but the Yankees have finally managed to bring over Ichiro, which I would have liked to have him about 4 or 5 years ago. But I'll still take Ichiro now. He's still very good in the outfield. And he made his debut for the Yankees last night. So glad to have him in the Yankee uniform.
That's a good addition.
His first at bat, he gets a hit too. So he starts out with a bang.
And he gets a steal.
So.
Yeah.
And he gets a steal. I mean,
looking forward.
Really good. I'm happy for him.
Yankees definitely picked up a good piece to replace Gardner, who's most likely out for the season. So they needed somebody in the outfield, and it's definitely not a bad pickup. The Yankees have money to burn, let's face it. So we're getting Ichiro.
And they got him for pretty cheap, actually.
A lot of people wanted to see that happen for a long time. So definitely welcome on the Yankees.
Well, he well deserves it because, he's been on a losing team for his whole career.
That's what I said. I wish we could have had him years ago.
Team to a winning team. I can't even hate it because he's going to the Yankees.
What did you just say?
Excuse me?
I can't even hate it.
It doesn't even sound right.
To you because you're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm saying I didn't say anything like that. I'm saying he's going to the Yankees. I can't hate on Ichiro because I think.
But you'll hate on the Yankees, though.
I hate the Yankees, man. don't question that, man.
Yeah,
I don't ever question my hate for the Yankees. All right.
Well, we got.
I do respect some players.
There's other news in New York though, as far as. The Knicks didn't get Steve Nash, but the Rangers got Rick Nash, who was the best player on the Columbus Blue Jackets, which isn't saying much because the Columbus Blue Jackets finished dead last in the entire league last year. It was their best player. It's a great pickup for the Rangers. They did give away a few pieces for him, but overall, I'm definitely happy with the trade. It's a huge piece to add to the Rangers.
Yeah.
Rangers just fell short last year in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Hopefully, they'll be the one to get them over the hump.
That's what happens when you make predictions. That's not from Arthurdamus. Statman,
all right.
You do the predictions to me, okay, buddy?
I think it was a good pickup for both teams. Just because the Blue Jackets, they got Anisimov, they got Dubinsky, they got a first-round pick, they got Erickson, who's a good prospect in the future, but they're all younger players too. So it's a good deal for the Blue Jackets. It's definitely a good deal for the Rangers because they didn't have to give up any of their better talent like. Chris Kreider, the rookie who I was excited about that we got last year. That was definitely a big pickup for the Rangers. So they didn't have to give up anybody big. They definitely got better in the process. The Blue Jackets got a little bit deeper. So it's definitely a good trade on both sides, I believe.
Other news for your so-called New York Knicks fans. Soon will be Brooklyn Nets fans. Y'all did get Ronnie Brewer, which is who was released from the Chicago Bulls on veteran minimum for 1 year. You're trying to copy the formula that the Miami Heat has. Get defense to surround them with talent. But you gotta understand.
That's about all he has.
You still have Carmelo Anthony. You're not going nowhere. You got Carmelo Anthony, the biggest chemistry breakdown disaster in the history of the NBA. You're not going nowhere. You're still going to exit in the first round.
I just want to remind everybody about Ronnie Brewer, where the term giving somebody the Ronnie Brewer treatment in the playoffs, where Kobe Bryant would basically stand about 3 feet away from Ronnie Brewer whenever he would go to shoot and just let him shoot because he knew he was going to miss. So that's the guy you're bringing in. He's good on defense. Just don't let him shoot the ball, Knicks fans.
What they need. They don't want nobody else to take shots from Carmelo.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right.
It was a good
That's true,
addition.
because that might throw things up. Carmelo can't take 40 shots a game.
Yeah,
but
this
we gotta jump into this trailer. I hope if you guys are ready upstairs. But we got the fully fit fighter face-off competition in which
the fully fit fighter fitness face-off. It's a tongue twister.
Yeah, I gotta I was just saying it correctly first. Yeah,
fully fit fighter fitness face-off. Say that 5 times fast.
I know I can't do it, but Statman and Arthurdamus, they got their training in.
Reality thing that me and Arthurdamus was doing. I ended up losing a nice chunk of weight from it. We did it over at the Jungle Gym in the Bronx, 2100 Westchester Avenue in the Bronx. For those of you in the Bronx area watching it on BronxNet as opposed through our online streams and whatnot or across the world and whatnot. But it was definitely an exciting experience, and it was something like I said, I lost a chunk of weight and whatnot, and it's Arthurdamus. He did his part too. He got to learn a couple of MMA moves and whatnot. We learned striking. We learned different Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu submissions and whatnot. So
It was a great experience. I needed to get back in shape. And it was a really good experience.
Yeah. So let's go to that tape. I guess we.
The Fully Fit Fire Fitness Face-Off, and we're starting today. You got no words right now. Gotta save my breath.
I can't hate on any others MMA guys and professional UFC and whatnot. It's a lot of training. It's grueling, it's grueling. We'll get back to shape. Great classes. Great place, Jungle Gym.
All right. We are officially back. Real Fans, Real Talk. And of course, sitting to my right, I got Matt Farrago, former middleweight boxer and president and founder of Ring 10. And he's also born right here in the Bronx, where we tape at in Bronx Net Studios. Matt, what's going on? Introduce yourself to the Real Fans, Real Talk Nation.
I'm working off your voice. Hi, my name is Matt Farrago. I'm the president of Ring 10. We're a non-for-profit charity organization in New York, and we raise money to help indigent fighters.
Well, I got a little stat for everyone out there as far as on Matt Farrago. 25 wins, 11 of those wins are knockouts, only 2 losses, and 1 draw. So the Beta Bomber in the building, in the Bronx right now. It's a pleasure to have you here. Glad you could join us. The first question I wanted to ask you, what exactly does Ring 10 do? If you could get into the details for our audience.
Yeah, a lot of the fighters, a lot of the big names that we knew when we grew up, Wilfred Benitez, and a lot of guys out there that after they're gone from the ring, people forget them and they think they're all living on, in a mansion somewhere high in the hills. But most of them, good 90% of them are in pretty bad shape. They're dire straits. They have no money. They've foreclosed. They've gone bankrupt, and people have forgotten about them. We've actually found guys in the streets in Philadelphia. We found the middleweight champion in the world in the Bronx, evicted. We set them up. We stepped in. We find them social services, and we try to get them on their feet. We're not a handout organization. We don't try to just, here's money, go away on $1,000. We try to get them on their feet, working, established, and secure is what we try to do. We understand that, they had a life in the ring, but this is a rough sport because there's nobody that looks out for them after it's over.
Yeah. And I know you were a boxer and everything, but what exactly is it that motivated you, that gave you this motivation to go and help the former boxers?
I was fighting I got to be about 1987 or so. I was fighting a main event in the Felt Forum, Madison Square Garden, and finished the fight, won the fight. I sat down with my family, and a couple old pugs came up and sat down next to me. Kind of like was a hit. I thought it was the end of the road. They all had flat noses. I didn't know what they wanted. But they asked me to join this organization, this boxing organization, and we want to fill it with new blood. We were on a new road to getting in new blood. Well, long story short, 20 years later, I was probably the youngest guy there. The next youngest guy was probably in his 60s or 70s, way back when I was in my 30s. But I saw the need to help these guys that we all forgot about, and we all think they were living high on life. They're all doing, they're in pretty bad shape. And so, I am thankful that I came out of it with my brains intact, and I'm comfortable financially, so I'm trying to give back, and I'm helping these guys as best I can.
How long has Ring 10 been around?
Ring 10 is fairly new. It's about 2 years. I was with another organization, another ring, that I had a falling out with. We just went in different paths. So I said, you know what, I'm going to form my own organization. We incorporated as Ring 10, and we're new, but we've done so much stuff in the last 2 years. Amazing what we're doing. So.
Do you think that the sport of boxing will ever come together to form some kind of a retired boxer's pension?
Never's a long time, so I'm not going to say never. I would love to see it happen, and the talk has been forever. The problem is you have too many entities out there. You have the WBC, the IBF, the WBA, the IBO, the NBO, NBFO. There's all these organizations, and everybody wants to say that they have the champion. Nobody wants to get together. As far as a pension goes, it's a tough thing, because what's the criteria? If you have 20 pro fights, you get a pension. Suppose at 19 you get badly hurt, and they say you can't fight again. No, I got one more fight to go. I need one more fight to get a pension. No, you can't. You understand? So that it's kind of tough. Boxing is a very individual sport, and it's unique in that aspect. There's got to be something, some way to pay it back. The promoters make money on the winner and the loser and the gate and the TV coverage. That's, the Don Kings, Bob Arams, Golden Boys.
With boxing, all the limelight, they always show the bright spots about boxing, and they never show the dark spots. So it's sad to hear. How was your last turnout, your last fundraiser?
We had a good showing. Obviously my expectations were a lot higher than they were, because I shoot for the stars. I expect to get it, and I go for it. I'm a fighter, and I don't give up. I don't quit. This year we're doing fairly well. We could definitely do better. We could hold as many people as we can handle, and we're hoping for the best.
What was some of the big name guys that you had show up for you the past couple of years?
It wasn't the past couple of years. It was last year was the first event.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to make it a big event, so we went out full blast to say, listen, we're here, we're established, and this is going to be an ongoing thing. We had Riddick Bowe. We brought Riddick Bowe up. Riddick's in pretty bad shape. So, guys, if anybody wants to ever help, contact me, and we'll figure out if you could help. We had Tony DeMarco. He's an old-time fighter, big-time fighter, champion, the whole works. He's in pretty good shape. Let me think of some of the old guys.
Now, Riddick Bowe, over his career, he's earned close to $60 million. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you look on the computer says he grossed $65 million. Okay, so let's say he took home $32 million, half of that. Okay, let's say he took home $16 million. Let's say he took home $8 million. You tell me, where is it? Now I'm not taking all the responsibility away from Riddick. I understand he's got a lot to do with it. I'll take 5 of those cars and 2 of those houses and 5 of those, and they don't think, and they think this is a long-term.
Money comes at you the first time.
And when it's over, it's over, and there is no more residual income. There's no more, constant money coming. You're not doing any TV shows or sponsorships or anything like that, and so, but you got to learn. You got to learn as a young kid. I hope these young kids do learn, because I do talk to a lot of them. Listen, save your money, get a secondary education, get something, a backdrop, something that you could always fall back on. I had my education, and I didn't give it up. Even though I was a pro in college, I didn't give it up to pursue professional. I had 2 degrees, I got my education, and then I went full-time into boxing.
That's what's up. That's what we gotta preach to these kids out there. You gotta finish that school, and you gotta make sure if you're going to be in sports, make sure you got something to fall back on, because anything can happen, and it's not even just in boxing where a lot of athletes go broke afterwards. In football and basketball, I believe it's in the 80% of most players go broke after they finish playing the game. So you got to be aware of that and prepare for that. That's very important. Can you say how much you guys raised last year at the fundraiser?
We were into the thousands, into the $10,000-$15,000 profit after the event was all over and it was accounted for, and we're pretty much tapped out now. So we kind of gear it so that it ends with nothing in the bank.
Okay.
We don't try to harvest it. We take no administrative fees, no handling fees. We don't take any of the money. 100% of all the income that comes in goes somehow to a fighter.
That's always good, very important when it comes to donating and charities. People want to know that and everything. But what, can you give an example of like how you help these guys? Like, for example, like Riddick Bowe or anybody that you've helped in the past, or
Riddick Bowe, we
like
donated.
You said you're not a handout and stuff. So like, how does it work? Like, how do you guys help them get back on their feet?
Riddick Bowe, we made some donations to him when he needed it. He was in financial trouble with his home, facing foreclosure. We and a bunch of others, some promoters actually, I think it was Joe DeGuy or Lou DeBella, they all kicked in and we got him out of foreclosure. I don't know if he's financially stable right now. I haven't talked to him in probably about 6 months. But we have a middleweight champion of the world, greatest fighter, top prospect. He had a fight in the 11th round. He came down with an aneurysm. His head started bleeding. He fell down. He took the loss. He went into a coma. When he woke up, he was blind and 80% deaf. And Don King was right there with his hand over him, saying, "I will take care of this guy. This guy will never need anything. We'll take care of him." And then as soon as the cameras were gone, he was gone also. I saw Don King not too long ago at a fight. I asked him again, could he help Gerald McCallum, middleweight champion of the world? And I kind of wish somebody had a camera because we could have put it on YouTube. He was gone before I finished the request. So what we did was, listen, I'm not going to say, okay, Gerald, not that he's handling the money, but his sister who's taking care of him. We opened up a food account at a food store right near his house. What do you normally shop? At so-and-so food store. Something Sullivan's, I think it was.
Okay.
And what we did was we opened up a credit card number. They have a certain amount of money every week, every month that they could deduct. And I need to get the facts because I just need to check on it. And I see it coming in, bread and butter and eggs and whatever it is. No alcohol, no anything like that. It all comes in. And I speak to her often. She's so thankful. She's so thankful because it eased a little burden of some extra food that they don't have.
That's amazing. How many fighters would you say you guys have helped so far?
We're new, so I'm going to say we probably helped within 10.
That's better than nothing.
Yeah.
If we
Even
help
if it's one, exactly.
if you make a difference in one fighter's life. Wilfred Benitez, you guys are fight fans, you know this name? Yeah. Wilfred Benitez, he fought Tommy Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, he fought them all. He was the youngest welterweight champion ever, 17 years old, champion of the world. Wilfred is 2 years older than me, and he's like this. He's shot. He can barely speak, barely do anything. He's about 53 years old. His sister takes care of him. We make a donation every month down to Puerto Rico that he buys food, medicine, things that they cannot buy because they're at the, they have no growing income. Their income is this much and they spend this much. That little difference is huge for them.
Yeah.
So she calls me every month to make sure that I'm going to send it and to thank me that we're getting it, or she's getting it.
What do you guys have lined up for this year's event?
We're going on August 18th right here in the Bronx at the Marina Del Rey. A beautiful place. I'm sure you guys all know about it. Everybody knows about it in the Bronx. We're bringing in, and this is all at no charge, other than the expense of flying them in. We have Bone Crusher Smith, James Bone Crusher Smith, good friend of mine.
Yes,
we got Living, you know the name, huh?
Yes,
the
sir.
Crusher. We have Livingstone Bramble. I tried to get Boom Boom Mancini because they haven't talked in got to be 30 years since. Would that have been beautiful? Yeah. But Ray's going to be somewhere else. I know Ray pretty well, so I thought I could work it out. That'd be a great reunion. We've got the Silk, Michael Elijah. We've got Iran Barkley. We've got Aaron Davis. We got a whole bunch of others. We're expecting some celebrities, Holt McCallany. I'm working on getting Tony Danza, so it's going to be a great event. Wow. And 100%, you know, we're a 501c3 established, so our books are open to the government. You can't say, oh, this is, you know, I bought a car. Yeah. You know, the president bought a car because he's got to travel, and I don't get a salary. I get nothing. I'm not going to say lose money, but I invest money in my program. Yeah.
That's big.
How could other people get involved, like, you know, to donate or to volunteer to help with the event or something? Like,
well, the best way would be, you know, you can come to the event August 18th. It's going to be hopefully a sold-out show. What would group everything would give you all the information you need. We go to the website, www.ring, R-I-N-G, 10 for 10, ring10ny.com. ring10newyork.com, and it's got everything. When the meetings are, we meet here in the Bronx once a month, and then the event is at the Marina Del Rey on the 18th.
No, where are the meetings at in the Bronx?
They're at a restaurant called Reno's on Tremont.
Okay.
East Tremont?
What's that? Yeah, East Tremont. East Tremont. Great. That's the monthly meetings. The event is on August. Okay. You know what I want to tell you? I'm sorry. Last year, you asked who came to the event. We talked about Riddick Bowe. We kind of went off on the side. We had Ernie Shavers.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't champ, but he was a champ. He was
hardest hitting fighter.
Oh, hardest fighter, right? According to the Acorn, right? According to Ali.
Yes, sir.
We had Jake LaMotta, and we also had Sugar Ray Robinson's first son. And this was the 60th, last year was the 60th anniversary of the Valentine's Day Massacre. And if you saw the Raging Bull, you couldn't get me down, Ray. You couldn't get me down. That was the Valentine's Day Massacre. Yeah. So it was the 60th anniversary. We had the son. We had Jake LaMotta, who was fairly in pretty good shape. Yeah. You know, he's 90 years old. So
there was someone else, so I can't remember his name, who passed away this year.
Bert Sugar.
There you go. Bert Sugar was there.
Bert, great guy. He said, I called him up and we spoke to him. He says, Matt, not a problem. I'm coming to help. Most of these guys are like, they know the cause, so they offer their service.
Yeah, it's great that these guys will come together, because when you're part of the culture, you know, like it's common that this stuff happens with these fighters. So it's good that you guys can get these guys to come out and support. And the Real Fans Real Talk team would also like to come out and support. Yeah, you're there. So we're gonna come out on the event, the next fundraiser. We out there with the cameras.
Beautiful.
And we want to have you guys come back. Want to have you come back after the fundraiser. Can you just give us the contact info one more time for the fundraiser and for Ring 10?
Sure. The best thing, because everything's on the website, is www.ring10ny.com. ring10newyork.com.
Okay.
Don't bring any bells. That's a problem.
No bells.
No bells.
All right,
you
now
got too many fighters in the crowd.
You can't say I'll be there with bells on.
You can. Just don't come with the bells, man.
So as long as it's not a literal thing.
So it's ring10newyork.com.
Yeah, ring the number 1, the number 0, and
it's August 18th. Oh, what time?
It's 11:30 to 4:30.
To 4:30 p.m.
Food the whole time. Top shelf liquor.
Sound like my kind of event.
Celebrities. The works, you know, and we're gonna have some acting people. It's gonna be a good event. Plus, you know what? It's a good thing. This is not like other sports where they sit up on a pedestal and you look at them and you wait an hour to get an autograph. These guys sit with you, mingle with you, talk with you, pose with you. You know, boxing is a very unique sport, very humble.
Now, man, I know you're used to being in the ring fighting, because that's what you did back in your heyday. Yeah. But we need you to be in the ring this time as a referee. And we have a little game that we play here. It's called Shot for Shot, where 2 of us will battle it out. And we got a couple of the questions. We got 5 questions. And the winner, or I should say the loser of Shot for Shot has to wear the memorabilia. As you see, the Statman has.
When Shot for Shot starts, it's time to take this off. Thankfully,
I real good, so
I gotta pull a Hulk Hogan over here.
So we actually got you a referee shirt here for you to throw on, so that you can judge this week's Shot for Shot. I'm gonna battle Arthurdamus. And Statman, he's gonna read the questions. So you're gonna pick who you think gave the best answer. And
does it have to be right, or just when I think?
It's an opinion.
It's really an opinion. So whatever you think
whoever pleads their case better.
Yeah, to you, that's who you pick. Did I get you the 20s? Did I slide you the 20s for the bribe?
Yes,
okay,
yes, you did.
all right, good. So we good now.
But he slid me more over there.
Oh man, so we're gonna make this a super fast episode of Shot for Shot.
Who will be going first according to
Well,
Statman, you choose, but we gotta go through fast.
We're gonna go with Trip Young going first, but which recent New York roster addition will have a bigger impact on his new team? Ichiro Suzuki for the Yankees or Rick Nash for the Rangers?
I'm going to say Rick Nash for the Yankees. Rick Nash for the Rangers. I just think he's a lot younger than Ichiro, and he's putting up pretty good numbers. I think that he's going to be a great addition to the Rangers, and he'll be the reason that they get over the hump. So I'm going to say Rick Nash.
I'm going to have to say Ichiro for the Yankees. No matter how much I hate the Yankees, well, I have to say they need, with Brett Gardner going out for the rest of the season, they need that hitter there. And Ichiro is able to hit, and he's able to play the right field, and he's able to still get stolen bases. It's a big addition for the Yankees to keep them as a powerhouse, to help them into the postseason.
He's also not hitting as well as he used to, but
he's also significantly older and whatnot.
Yeah. Still better than
Rick Nash at this stage of his career is a bigger, more talented player in the league than Ichiro is in baseball.
Well, let's take it to the judge. See what the judge has to say.
Oh wait, I thought I was judging that.
Yeah, you gotta say we gotta.
I got the shirt on.
Exactly.
You got a good response, but I got to go with Arthur. I think on the short term, it's going to make a difference. He is an older player, but I think on the short term, he's going to have more of an impact.
All right. What up?
Thank you, Matt. Thank you.
I knew I should have given him 100. Go ahead, Statman.
He did say he gave him more 20s before. Maybe he wasn't lying. All right. Over or under the 6th seed for the Bulls if Derrick Rose is out until March of next season with his injury?
That's hard. I have to say over 6 seed. With Derrick Rose out, under 6 seed. Under 6 seed because even when Derrick Rose was out, they were still winning games. But the only thing is that they did lose Omar Sheik, but they still have pretty much. I still think it was top.
Wait, so then you think he's going to be in 7th or 8th seed?
No, I think they'll be
higher
than
be
they'll
higher.
probably be 5th or 6th seed. Because it's Tom Thibodeau. He's not going to let his team slack off. No matter what his talent is, he's still going to make them play the hardest that he can. And that's one of the reasons why he's one of the elite coaches. And I really think he's going to be. I think he's going to be up there. And they're going to be a 5th or 6th seed.
Yeah, I got to agree with him, and I'm gonna make my answer quick. Just because there's not enough teams made a vast improvement, and I think they'll still be over the 6th seed because they played so well without him. So I guess we gotta draw on that one. So Statman, you got to go to the next one.
All right. So were the NCAA sanctions on Penn State justified or too harsh?
I'm kind of split on this because obviously, I hate what went on there, but I do think that it's unfair to the players. But you know what? Listen, it starts with the coaches and the people in charge, and if those are the guys that are supposed to be leading the players, then you're supposed to set the example. So I'm going to say no, it was fair.
I'm going to say it's too harsh. The only reason why I'm going to say it was too harsh because, in my opinion, it would be better off getting the death penalty. Like I said, this was NCAA way of showing that we have an opportunity to make an example out of somebody, and that's exactly what they did with Penn State. You shouldn't punish the kids. This is the kids it's not the kids' fault that this is what's going on. It's the administration. I think they should have punished the administration more than they should have punished the kids. And you're taking away the football from all these kids. And this is what these kids. This is one of the number one thing in Penn State is football. So I'm saying it was too harsh.
I'll take it to the judge.
I gotta go with.
Oh man,
Yeah. You know what? You're hurting these future kids, and you're taking away the legacy of the football program when in fact it was a legal thing, and you can't hurt the program. You're sacrificing the sports team for what actually happened when it wasn't really the sports team. It was an isolated couple people that should have been punished. The school should have been heavily fined, but the sports still should remain the same.
This is NCAA trying to throw their weight around. It was just totally unfair.
Well, I think the only way they could punish them, unfortunately, there was the innocent victims with the players and whatnot, and every sport, since football gets most of the funding and whatnot. So. But I mean, that's the only way they're going to be able to punish them is,
but if this was a steroid scandal, these guys were superhuman and that's why they won all these games, then you know what? Absolutely, erase them from the books. But this had nothing to do with the actual game. Yeah. Nothing to do with the game.
All right. Moving on to the next question.
I got to get a clean sweep on these next two.
I would have had you two up 2-0, Trip Young, but Arthurdamus is with a 2-0 lead right now. Over or under 40% chance Dwight Howard is still with the Magic after the trade deadline?
Over 40% that he will be with the Magic because look what the Nets did. The Nets threw everything but the kitchen sink at the Orlando, and they said no. Then the Lakers did the same thing. They're saying no. So who else is going? What else better they're going to get out of that? I don't know. If you can't get Bynum, if you can't get Chris Humphrey, Brook Lopez, and a whole bunch of how many first round draft picks, I think they're trying to keep him there. They're trying to keep him there for the season and let him go about his business in free agency.
I'm gonna disagree. I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna keep my answer quick. They realize that he's not gonna stay there, and it's gonna be the same thing with Miller, where he got traded at the halfway point.
So it's up to the judge.
Yeah, I like his.
That's right. That's right. Let's go to the next one because we might have to hit overtime.
Which controversial 2013 Hall of Fame class member has a better chance of getting inducted, Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens?
I'm going to say Roger Clemens, and the reason I say Roger Clemens is because Barry Bonds was considered an a-hole during his time in baseball, and Roger Clemens was the more likable player, so I got to say Roger Clemens. Even though I think they both should be it. But.
I'm going to have to agree with him. But the answer I want to say, the reason why he's going to get in the Hall of Fame will cause a lot of controversy. But this strictly seeing how it is because I had this discussion on Real Fans Real Talk on website is the factor is going to come in, and I'm sorry to say, has to be with race. Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds.
I think that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
I think it is. I'm not trying to make myself as a racist.
We gotta move along.
Yeah. We are running short on time. I just want to do Arthurdamus. You got it this week. I'm gonna have to come in next week with some.
Another Boston Red Sox.
I see.
A small Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, but I want to do real quick before we do jump into that. This day in sports history, we're just gonna say these really fast.
Well, 1951, CBS broadcast the first color telecast of a sporting event, which was a horse race.
And in 1968, Hank Aaron his 500 career home run.
He ended up finishing with 755, and in 1988, Ken Griffey Jr. gets his 2000 hit.
And I know this is from yesterday, but we had a big day in sports history yesterday because 1987 on July 23rd, Matt Farrago defeated Harold Hogan at the Felt Forum right here in New York. He won by a TKO, so we had to drop that in there. And so we're gonna have to close it out this week. I just really quick, Matt, one last question in boxing. Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao? Who you got? If they ever fight.
If they ever fight, I got. I'm sorry to say, but I got Mayweather.
I gotta shake your hand on that.
Listen.
Hey.
This is not who I want to win. I'm just
it's
calling
not
it
a
the way
matter
I'm
of
calling it.
who you
The guy
like
is
more or
just too
whatever.
talented. He's too talented.
It is what it is.
So talented that he ducks every real challenger there is.
You didn't ask me if he would do it. You said if they do it, I gotta go with him.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Matt. We gotta thank you for coming out again, and we will be with you on August 18th, and then hopefully we can get you back on the show.
Sure.
After that, I'm gonna have to pay you more money the next time we battle it out on Shot for Shot. But this is Real Fans Real Talk. Follow us on the web at realfansrealtalk.com. You can get all our Twitter, Facebook info. I'm Trip Young.
Mark the Statman Skevich.
And I'm Arthurdamus.
And of course, Matt Farrago. And this is Real Fans Real Talk, and we are officially out of here.
Peace.
Face facts, what up, what up? RealFansRealTalk.com.
Wish we had-
Diamonds, Trip Young, and intern
more
Tom. For the white and black fans, Asia to Manhattan. I get all my facts from my bro, Mark the Stats Man. If you're not tuned in, I recommend the CAT scan. And if your brain checks out, then you deserve a backhand. Sports, gossip, all the hot topics. RealFansRealTalk.com got it. They got the hottest bloggers.
Did Jeremy Lin hurt?
Well, log onto the site and you can hear it from them first. I'm talking about the latest. I'm talking about the greatest. Go check out the archives. Even tell a neighbor. Tell them Bobby sent ya. From spring to winter, tuning in should be the only thing on your agenda. Certified cosign. You know what I'm about, son. RealFansRealTalk.com. I'm out.